Welcome back to the Vintage Telephones channel. We are doing a final checkout video of this GPO 706 in the lacquer red. I got this phone back in July of 2023 when I did the first checkout. And the reason why it's taken so long to finally do the final video is that I ran into a technical issue with this telephone, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So the cleaning and the polishing and adjusting was the easy part, but when it came to, testing the phone, I came across an issue with the dial, and when I hooked it up to the machine to dial the numbers, it would come one pull short. And so if I dialed a 3, for example, it would dial a 2, and if I dialed a 1, it wouldn't register. So I really couldn't figure it out why. Number one, I'm not very well read in the technical part of telephones. I know what the components are, but I don't really know maybe the troubleshooting issues other than, bad cords and all that. So I messed around with a multimeter. I got one because I hadn't used one before. So I did a little messing around. I did find a disconnect with the brown wire. I think that's a shunting contact with the dial when it's connected, because it's apparently connected to, I think, T3 in the PC board in the terminal. And when I disconnect it, the phone works fine. It just doesn't cut off the receiver. So temporarily, I have that wire taped off and disconnected. So the phone works fine. It just doesn't cut off when I dial. And if I were to hook it up to a regular line, I don't think it would cause an issue, but that's not my intention. My intention is to show that it works with the machine. But that was really the issue with this telephone, other than, the phone rings. It's been converted to work here in the United States. So now that we got that little preface out of the way, I'll tell you, so I figured out this phone is actually originally from 1962, and it was a central battery telephone, meaning that it did not have a dial originally. It would have had the dial blank on the front. But I don't know what color it was originally. And it was made, I think, by Phoenix Telephones. There's a code on the bottom. It's like 706 with the PX. That's Phoenix Telephones. And it was converted with, adding the dial and possibly changing the color. New housings. 1975. In the GPO factory in Cwmcarn, Wales. So this phone, this is a Mark II, so it's going to have the PC board instead of the traditional wiring. So it's going to have metal bottom instead of the plastic bottom as in the early 706s. 706s originally came in around 1959, so this is 1962, so it's a couple years in its production. So, I'll show you around here. The early 706s, if they had dials, would have had a matching dial plate with the chevron, so this would have been red if it was originally red. And the finger wheel would also be red too, and they were back painted so the paint wouldn't scratch off. Now this phone didn't originally have a number card, but I found this one in a drawer. I didn't really want to print out a new one. I think having one that is original and not a copy would have been nice for this telephone, because it was without, and the opal was there, so I didn't have to find a spare for that. I'll show you around the handset. The handset is the exact same as you would find on the 746, and it changed the handsets when the 746 came out. They, of course, updated the base. It's a very beautiful telephone, given that it's, you know, a more updated version of the 706. There's the side. It's even got the matching plastic carrying handle. And I always get afraid that those would break. I think they would break after a lot of stress of carrying the handle, but thankfully this one is in one piece. Pardon these scratches here. That's something I could not get out. That's like a nick. There's the back. I did save the grommet for the line cord. And I just fitted it really should have been red, but I did not have a red one laying around. I just had this white. And coil cord. Got a lot of lint on this telephone as well. And then I oiled the dial. Interestingly, this dial has mostly metal parts on the inside except the governor cap, which is plastic. So they, for some reason, switched the original metal one into a plastic. But everything else is metal. So nice and oiled. We got a little melt mark here too. I don't know if someone took a soldering tool and, I don't know, touched something hot with it. Also, I left it out, but if it had the original dial with the red and the chevrons, it would have also had a surround here with the numbers and letters. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that. This also here, this blank, there's no function for this on this telephone, but it would have been reserved for maybe an on-off switch, a ring button, or maybe one of those earthing buttons. Those two screws right there are used to, you know, when you unscrew them, it takes the cover off of the telephone. So here is the bottom. So we have 706 CB, the central battery, PX Phoenix telephones, February of 1962, and then we also have the batch sampled sticker converted into 706F, that's figures only, so numbers only, batch sampled. FWR is the Cwmcarn GPO factory, Wales, February of 1975. So that's the bottom. So yeah, these are really cool phones. I also polished the bells on the inside. You can hear them a little bit. So yeah, that is the GPO 706 from originally 1962 and converted in 75. So what I'll do next is I will bring up the machine and we will demonstrate. And as usual, I will pick up the handset and I will give you the dial tone. If you can hear it, it doesn't always pick up. So when I speak, you see the red light, it changes as I speak into the handset. It means the transmitter's working. Alright, I'll give you a couple pulses here. Okay. And I will dial some numbers. And last but not least, the ringer. So let me move this around a little bit. All right, here we go. So that concludes our little video of the update of this GPO 706 and its technical issue. And of course the final checkout video and demonstration. So I have more telephones to show you all, and hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great day.